Hello everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Retro Gaming on a Budget. For this first episode, I figured I'd just choose a random assortment of games across 6 different game systems. Most of these will have to do with one single subject, whether a certain game franchise, a certain game system, a certain game genre, etc., but this one will just be a random assortment of different games. And of course, I'll be going in order alphabetically and by age rating, specifically the ESRB's age ratings. So let's get this first episode started. Looney Tunes Racing for PlayStation. This is a 3D kart racing game in which players get to use different Looney Tunes characters across different tracks themed around the franchise. It has some of your average kart racer modes, including Championship and Single Race, but it also has other modes such as Acme Challenge. The gameplay is very similar to your average kart racers such as Crash Team Racing and Mario Kart, but it has enough here to stand out on its own. There are power-ups, turbo boosts, and different hazards to try and slow you down. As you complete various challenges in the game, you can unlock more characters and tracks. This game does have multiplayer. Unfortunately, it doesn't go up to 4 players, but at least goes up to 2 players. So if you have an extra controller, you and a friend could play at the same time. According to GameEye, the average price CIB is $19 for this game, with the Metacritic scores being 71 out of 100 from the critics and 79 out of 100, or 7.9 out of 10 as they put it, from the users. So if you're looking for a PS1 kart racer while trying to save some money, then you should get Looney Tunes Racing, especially if you're a Looney Tunes fan. Sonic Heroes for Xbox. This is a 3D action platformer game that was released for Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. You use Sonic, of course, and 11 other characters across 4 different teams. The gameplay feels very similar to your average 3D Sonic game, but with a twist. The twist being that you have 2 other characters with you that you can switch to at almost any time to get through the levels. You have the speed characters such as Sonic, the flight characters such as Tails, and the power characters such as Knuckles. They all have their strengths and weaknesses and can make the levels feel very interesting. In terms of difficulty modes, it all depends on which team you choose. If you want the straight normal mode, then choose Team Sonic. And if you're looking for multiplayer, this game does have it. It's not as deep as other games that focus more on multiplayer, but it is good for you and a friend to play for a little while. You can unlock more multiplayer modes by playing through the single player mode and getting more emblems. The average price CIB for the Xbox version of this game is around $20. And according to Metacritic, the critic score is 73 out of 100, and the user score is 79 out of 100. While the fan favorite version of this game is on GameCube, if you're looking to save a little more money, then you should get the Xbox version because it's pretty close. And in case you're wondering, it is playable on the Xbox 360, it just has some issues here and there. Super Mario Galaxy for Wii. This is a 3D action platformer game in which players are using Mario to rescue Peach from Bowser again, but this time in space. The way the levels are structured in this game are like how they were in Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine, in which you choose a mission and then you get to that goal in the way the level has set up. Of course, since this is a Wii game, motion controls are involved, but they don't feel too forced. There's not really any other modes outside of story mode, but there's enough content here to occupy your time. In terms of multiplayer, it's sort of here. See, the way it works is, while one person is playing the main game using Mario and all that, the other person can use another Wiimote to help pick up items and help fight off enemies and things like that. So I wouldn't really call it a 2-player mode, rather like a 1.5 mode, in which 2 people are technically playing, but one is doing a lot more of the work. The average price CIB for this game is around $14, which is honestly kinda cheap for a Mario game. As for the Metacritic scores, it's a 97 out of 100 from critics and a 91 out of 100 from users. So if you like 3D Mario and you don't mind a little bit of motion controls, then you should definitely get a kick out of this game. FlatOut Ultimate Carnage for Xbox 360. This game was released on Xbox 360 and PC, and it's an enhanced version of FlatOut 2, which was released on the original Xbox, the PS2, and also PC. It's a 3D vehicle-based game that has various types of modes to it, including things like racing, demolition derby, and all kinds of different minigames. What makes this one stand out a little more, at least for the time, is that it was a lot more realistic in terms of how the vehicles drive and the kind of damage that can be done to them if you run into something. As for the mini-games, they involve both your vehicle and the drivers flying out of the vehicles. You use your vehicle to get to a certain speed, and then you launch the driver at the certain goals in the mini-games and try to get the most amount of points. This is where it's definitely less realistic, but it's no less fun. There is multiplayer in this game, and I think it goes up to 8 players, but it's not 8 controllers. It's actually set up to where you pass the controller and take turns. It can be fun at parties if you don't mind waiting for your turn. The average price CIB for this game is around $20. And over on Metacritic, it's 80 out of 100 from critics and 86 out of 100 from users. So if you have an Xbox 360 and you'd like to play a good vehicle game for parties or even by yourself, then FlatOut Ultimate Carnage might be for you. Tekken 6 for PlayStation 3. This is primarily a 3D fighting game in which players use many different characters to fight each other. I say primarily because there is a story mode here that has different mechanics, but it's still mainly focused on fighting. As for the other modes, they're kinda your standard stuff, such as arcade mode, survival mode, time attack mode, and things like that. It may not look all that different from other fighting games in terms of just looking at it, but if you actually play it, it may feel a little different from your Street Fighters or your Mortal Kombats. It takes more advantage of the 3D gameplay than some of those other fighting games. And, like a majority of fighting games, this one has multiplayer. The average price CIB for this game is $14, with a Metacritic score of 79 from critics and 76 from users. So if you have a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 and you're a fan of Tekken or fighting games in general, then this could be for you. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance for PlayStation 2. This is a 3D fighting game in which players use the various famous characters of Mortal Kombat to fight each other, as well as newcomers for the time. It was originally released for PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube, as well as on Game Boy Advance. It plays like a lot of other 3D fighting games, but like with Tekken 6, when you actually play it, you can feel the difference. Of course, it wouldn't be Mortal Kombat without the blood, gore, and fatalities, and this game is no exception. In terms of different modes, there are the standard stuff, like arcade mode. Introduced to this game is Conquest mode. It's essentially a tutorial mode of the different fighting styles of different characters. There's also a ton of unlockables, including videos and concept art and images. There's 676 unlockables to be exact, so there's a lot here to unlock. But there are videos that are unlocked right at the start, such as a behind the scenes for this game, a history of Mortal Kombat up to that point, and even a music video. But of course the main focus here is the fighting gameplay, and you and up to one other person can fight each other in this game. The average price CIB for this is around $14. The Metacritic scores have 79 from the critics and 83 from the users, at least for the PlayStation 2 version. So if you like Mortal Kombat or fighting games in general and don't mind all the blood and gore, then you should enjoy this game. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I guess you could say this was kind of a sample pack of how I'd be doing these videos. But let me know your honest opinions in the comments, whether you like it, you hate it, you are somewhere in between, you think it should stay the same with a little bit of improvement, you think I should just redo the entire structure, whatever you think. But until then, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video if you did like it, and subscribe for more of these or any other types of videos that I make, and remember to spend your money wisely.